Hello, I'm Paul Guglia. I'm your Port Liberte realtor with Prominent Properties Sotheby's International Realty. And I wanted to take a couple minutes today to talk to you about something. This is something that makes realtors cover their ears, makes sellers throw up their hands, and sometimes makes buyers run for the hills. And it's two words, and the two words are special assessment. Special assessments are a fact of life in condominium living, especially as buildings start to age and get older and start to need some things. And you shouldn't look at special assessment much differently than you would as a homeowner of a single family home, because at some point your house will need a roof, you probably will need a new driveway at some point, or you might need a new furnace. And those things all are extraordinary expenses that come not that often. So special assessments really need to be looked at in a different way. Special assessments generally are for a couple of purposes. One purpose might be to build the reserves so that the condo association can feel very confident about being able to meet needs for extraordinary things that may come up in the future. Or the special assessment may be for capital improvement projects. And I think as soon as everyone steps back and thinks about it and puts it into perspective, a special assessment isn't necessarily the curse that it sounds like right up front. Yes, it can be a shock because it means that you have an expense that you hadn't necessarily planned on, but I think it needs to be looked at as an investment in the future. And this is my opinion, but I think that special assessments for capital improvement projects at some point in the future become equity. So what you put out now may be a little painful, but in years down the road, that may turn into property value, because communities that are using capital improvement projects for things that show on the surface, they look better, they become more desirable, and they had a better reputation in the market. So what I would ask you to do is don't be afraid to look at communities that may have a special assessment. In fact, one of the communities that I specialize in here in Port Liberte, one of the phases has a special assessment right now. And what I would say to you is don't be afraid to look at properties there, because this special assessment is going to make this community return to the glory that the original developer had in mind when he built it. And it's going to turn into a paradise for buyers. Special assessments should not be an invitation for predatory buyers to come out and try to pick someone's bones clean and pick up a property for next to nothing, because at the end of the day, that backfires. A home is worth what you've paid for it. So if someone comes as a predatory buyer and gets what they think is the deal of the century, they've basically lowered the property values of the community, because that becomes the next comp. I would say to agents is learn about special assessments. Don't be afraid of them. Be right up front with your buyers and tell your buyers that this community has a special assessment and this is what the special assessment is for. What I would say to sellers is you may be asked to contribute in some way, to provide some sort of relief to a buyer, to give them an incentive to come into a community that has a current special assessment. Most of my sellers right now are willing to work with buyers with some sort of relief so that maybe they would not start paying the assessment for several months down the road. And what I would say to buyers is, what you're looking at in a property with a special assessment, you're looking at something that's well priced for today's market, but think ahead. If you're going to be there for the long haul, and I would say a good 5-6 years minimum, you're looking at increased property value. So just step back, let the hysteria just kind of like go away and put the special assessment in perspective. Because at the end of the day, every special assessment has a silver lining. And the silver lining is going to be an improved community. It's going to be a community where the condo association and the homeowners are so involved that they care enough to make sure that the community is sound financially, that the community is sound structurally, and that the community looks the best that it can. And I do think, and it is my opinion only, that in the future, those special assessments will translate into property value. So I just ask you, if you are asked to see a community with a special assessment, don't be afraid to look. Just go in with an open mind and try to put on your future glasses and see what's coming down the road. So thanks for taking a couple minutes with me today, and I wish you all just good luck, good fortune, good health, and much success this year.